Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan Talks, and today we are talking about crafty things. I got inspired to make this video because of an event that me and my mom did at the beginning of April, the beginning of the month. And I'm having a little bit of a hard time describing what this event is to people. So I'm going to do my best. And then I also have some like a little tidbit of videos from said event so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But apparently, in this town that I live, Lawrence, Kansas, every year at the 4-H grounds, there is a craft supplies fair, craft supplies event. Not really sure how to explain it. It was called like a thrift craft event. Essentially, everybody brings stuff that they already owned, craft supplies, tools, that sort of thing they already owned, to sell to other people at a discounted rate. It was a really, really cool event. Tons of stuff available for really, really good prices. And if anything, I'm surprised that the event is not more popular, especially for people shopping. We found out about it because my family in general is trying to downsize always. But specifically, I am hoping to move to Sweden in the next year. And then also my grandparents, we are working on going through a lot of the things that they have at their house. They have a lot of really, really cool stuff, including my grandmother was a lifelong quilter and has tons of like quilt supplies and fabric and all of these things. My family is going to put on our own big like fabric sale, quilt sale, but we wanted to see like what the vibe was for people looking to buy those things and some hands-on experience with that situation. So it worked really, really well for us. And again, if I wasn't trying to now like downsize everything in my life, I probably would have spent half of the money that we made on just supplies for myself because there was so much stuff there, so much good yarn, so many good things. And it inspired me a little bit to show you guys the things that I am working on currently. So real quick, I'm going to show you just some little clips from the event, like how it looked, what the vibe was, little glimpse at what was going on there. But okay, the next thing that I wanted to do was just show you guys what I am currently working on today when it comes to crafty things. So I thought this was a good time to do it because I'm actually at a couple different stages of a couple different projects. So the first thing I'm working on is this situation. And this is the start, or like the first 40% of something called a scoodie, which is like a scarf hoodie. So if you've seen like the viral Sophie hood, this is kind of a play on that, though it's a completely different like texture, yarn weight, all of those things. This is a different pattern from a different person on YouTube, and I will put that video in the comments because I cannot remember who it was right at this moment or like what their name is. But it's a really good video, and again, like a really good project, really fun project that is available for free here on YouTube. So I am working on that. I actually already made this project. So this yarn, the yarn that you see there, the main like darker blue yarn, is yarn that I got in Ireland. So a few videos before this, you can see my Ireland vlog if you want, and you can see where I got this skein of yarn. But I was really excited about it, and I wanted to make something that I would like use in my life. So I already actually made a whole scoodie. I cannot figure out how to pronounce that. And I'm taking it apart now. I'm going to insert a few photos of the finished product and then also me like wearing it. Because I will say it was super cute. It is like, it was doing what it needed to do. But if you can see here, first of all, a couple things. One, I had to use a bunch of different yarns as like the second yarn in the bunch. This was like my main yarn. I had this all the way through. But then I was just using other yarns that I like found at my boyfriend's grandparents' house from his grandmother's like stash that she had that she wasn't going to use anymore. And so I ended up with kind of some weird like striping. And while I didn't care that much about how it looked, I also felt like it could look better. If it had only been about the aesthetics, I might have left it, but at the same time, I don't know if you guys can tell. So you can see that this is like a pretty tight weave here, right? Like it stretches, but there's no like holes or any like super big holes in between. It's pretty tight. It's pretty like it doesn't like it's not solid, but it's not like floppy, if that makes sense. This was not the right yarn size or gauge, needle size, anything for the pattern that I was making. I just used what I had. I used the biggest knitting needles that, again, my boyfriend or my fiance's grandmother had because I had only brought my ones to like make socks. So I did find her like biggest needles, but they weren't big enough and it wasn't quite right and the gauge wasn't quite right. And it ended up a little bit like the texture is not necessarily what you want in a scarf. You know what I mean? Like it's a little stiff. So I finished it. I knew that was going to be a problem, but I still finished it and I was like, you know what? If I want to, I'll take it apart and do something better if I find another better yarn to like do it with and if I have the right needles. So I did end up, as I was going through everything to find supplies to sell for the craft fair, I went through all of my yarn. And what I realized is that I had two skeins of this really, really thin, like sock weight wool yarn. Maybe not wool. I can't remember. Maybe nylon. It's something. It's not acrylic, which is nice. It is another, like it is a different type of material than that. It's old. Like this is I don't know if it's a vintage necessarily, but it is like a thrifted or like given to me yarn that is older than 5 years, I would say at least, if not like 10, 20 years. So it's exciting. And I have two skeins of this. So I realized that I would be able to, with my full ball of blue yarn, of darker blue yarn, and this lighter blue yarn, I realized that I would be able to do the whole thing and do it really consistently in terms of color. And then also you can see here that like the needles, so bigger needle and smaller yarn equals like a floppier, like see how this one, like it's just floppy, you know what I mean? Like it's more scarf texture, if that makes sense. So yeah, I did decide to go ahead and take apart the other one, and that's why I'm literally halfway through a row right now, because I got to the point where I was at the end of my yarn and I needed to unravel more. The rest of this, like this ball of yarn, goes back to the very beginning. So I have to decide if I'm going to cut this and use this and possibly have to weave in more ends so that I can just continue to knit instead of having to take this entire thing apart, because it is a process, let me tell you. It seems like it would be easy to pull a piece of knitwear apart. It's not. It's not easy. I did this, like I made this, and it's still tough because every point that also any of the colors change, there's like knots happening. I weaved in ends. So this is like a finished, completed project, and it is tough to take it apart. It is like this has taken me, the amount of time that it has taken me to take apart 40% of this is probably more time than it's taken me to knit this 40% of the next scarf. So that's just what it is. But that's like my most finished project as of right now. I also just last night decided, because I was feeling like I needed something to do with my hands and I didn't want to unravel anymore and I didn't have any more to knit on my scoodie. So I did start a gauge swatch for a pair of socks that I want to make out of this. This is a superwash wool. So it is technically a wool coated in plastic, which is kind of a bummer, but it's still a wool. And so I think it will make really good socks. I have never officially made a pair of socks that actually fit right and good, if that makes sense. Like I have made a pair of socks before. I've made two pairs of socks before, and both times there was stuff that was wrong enough with them that I will probably just frog the project eventually. So I really want to create a pair of socks that I like actually like and can wear. And this is beautiful. Like this color is beautiful. So you can see I'm just doing a little gauge swatch, or just like started a little swatch where I did some stockinette stitch and then some rib stitch to see on this size of needle just what the gauge would be. So yeah, that's the project that I like have barely started, but it's started, it's conceptualized, that sort of thing. The last project that I have a little bag containing, actually, wait, let me really quickly show you this real quick. Right when I got home from Sweden, before I had found that other yarn and whatever, I was just still very obsessed with this like 2x2 ribbing. And so I got this skein of yarn that I've had in my stash for forever that is just so beautiful. It actually looks really beautiful on camera, I'm going to be honest. And I was just like, how much of this can I knit, or how long of a scarf can I get out of this? And it is kind of funny because there's like this little pop of like mess up with the spinning of the yarn that I decided to just leave in because, again, I was like, oh, what do I care? But then it's funny because now I'm like, okay, I have this much of this done. I have this much yarn left, and I have no inspiration to finish this project. Like I don't know. I'm thinking that I might just rip it all out and start again. I don't know. But it's like a beautiful scarf, but like I don't need it. Like I don't need another scarf. I have plenty of scarves. I could give it as a gift, but again, like I would need to probably go back and frog that out of it. And that's just a lot to think about right now. So this will just be going and living in my bag of projects for a little while until I decide what I want to do. I've also thought it could be cool to experiment with like a one skein scoodie where I just try to make like the hood and like a little bit of a scarf to tie in the front. I don't know. So we'll see if anything ever comes of that. But that is currently in the bag with my unstarted project, which is kind of a secret surprise project. And it is something that I am doing for my wedding. So I'm getting married in June. And, you know, I'm not going to tell you guys really anything about it, but just to give you maybe a little hint. It's all greens. It's all greens in here. So, yeah, something fun is coming with that. And I don't want to put too much of it on the internet because I want it to be a surprise for my guests and for my fiance. He knows about the project, but he won't obviously see the finished piece until he's here from Sweden because he lives in Sweden. So yeah, that project, unfortunately, you guys won't be able to see right now. I also haven't started it, so there's actually really nothing to see. But just so you know, something else is coming there. That is what I'm working on now. I would love to hear about what you guys are working on. Definitely drop a comment. If there's anything else that you want to see from me, please let me know. And otherwise, I will catch you on the next one. Bye.